Hey guys, how are ya? So today, something a little bit different. We are actually going to Vexed HQ and we're going to go meet up with Willie and check out a bunch of the all new Vex products that are coming out. There's a whole bunch of new things that are about to hit the store. One thing that I'm really excited to show you guys is the all new Vexed whiting rods, which we've been testing and they're absolutely awesome. So I'm super excited to show you them. But anyway guys, let's hit the road and we'll go rock up at Vexed HQ.
Welcome to the Vex warehouse. He walked in and nearly fell over. But no, we're here on the weekend, so we're doing this. We're doing the hard yards for you guys, and I'm going to show you the new Vexed micro meat rods. So we've basically designed the rod for these things. I wanted a rod that had a fiberglass feel. I know it sounds horrible, it sounds old and sloppy, but a fiberglass feel, but in a nice light graphite rod. What I mean by fiberglass feel is I wanted a whiting rod with not a nibble tip, because I don't like nibble tips. I think you can't set hooks properly with them, but I wanted a softer tip. See that? A nice soft graphite tip, okay? But I wanted the rod not to be a horrible big log, like using a stinking fiberglass rod or a solid tip fiberglass rod. So we've done three sizes rods, and basically we've done it to suit the range of sizes we do of micro meats and bottom worms. So this one I have here is the longest one, which is 7'2", and it's rated for micro meats or bottom worms between 5 and 20 grams. Now you can put a 30 on if you want to drop it, or a 40, but this is for kind of more out there stuff rather than down there stuff. What that means is this is a land-based one or a light boat one when you're in shallow bays and you want to cast. So obviously you can't cast 60 grams with this, because you'll come back with a snap tip and say, oh yeah, I just picked it up and it fell off and snapped. You know, those sorts of people. So this is these are best suited to be used with something between like 4 and 15 pound line, but ultimately 8 pound braid's going to be perfect on these. And again, this is the Daiwa TD Black reel. This is the best reel series for these rods, I reckon. They're just such an affordable reel, but it's got such a premium feel, and that's what we've been running on them. We've been running pretty much TD Black reels on them. Now I wanted a fairly long butt, not a little short finesse butt, because these go into a rod holder more often than not. And if you look up real close, you'll see we've got a little picture of a whiting etched into the EVA, which looks pretty cool. So these are an Assassin built rod, but it's a bit of a collab with Vex. So we gave Assassin the specs that we wanted. We've tested these rods for about 18 months with all the different we've tested about 5 or 6 different ones, and we've picked this perfect range of whiting rods. Now they're 2-piece in the middle as well, which is really useful for if you do want to travel around or cart them or ride your treadly if you're a grommet. So basically these will be available towards Christmas 2025. I'm just going to show you the next one now. That's my favourite. I like the really light one. I think this one's going to be popular too. Now this is the heaviest guy. So this is rated to suit jigs between 40 and 100 grams. So this is not a casting rod. This is a drop down or a little lob sort of a rod. Using line between 12 and about 30 pounds. 30 pounds probably a little bit heavy for this rod, but sometimes when there's structure around and snags and stuff, some of the heavy-handed guys, if you're hooking snapper and stuff as well, like to use 30-pound braid. So this here is a very handy snapper rod as well, but obviously this has been made with micro meats and whiting fishing in mind. So you do get big King George. I know you think, well, 30 pound and you know, something you can drop 100 grams with. There are big King George in certain pockets of Australia, and some of the areas that me and the dude with the camera fish, you know, we're getting fish up around, well, I don't know, up to 1 kilo and a bit. So that's a dirty big King George, up around 60 odd centimeters. So they're not common, but they are definitely a target. The one in the middle is the one that Luke likes the best.
This is my favourite.
This is his favourite. It's a 7-footer, and it's rated right in the middle for 15 to 40 grams, so somewhere between 15 and 40. Again, you can drop 60 or 80 on this, but you can't cast them. This is not so much of a casting rod, it's more of a lob rod, fishing between 5 and 20 meters of water predominantly. So that's it, that's the range. The Vexed micro meat rods, get them Christmas 2025.
Now guys, these rods are coming in early December is what we're hoping for, and what we're going to do now is open pre-orders for them. So all you have to do is go to tacklewest.com.au and you can place a pre-order to secure one of these rods for yourself. But I'll link it in the description, so get on there, pre-order your rod, and then when they land we'll get them direct out to your door. Right, next up we're going to show you the new range of Vexed hooks. This is a whole new complete range of fishing hooks. They're Vexed by YM. So this is a new brand. They're a premium hook at a very affordable price, and there's absolutely stacks here. Willie's just picking out a range to show you, but there's a couple of really cool hooks in there that we're really excited to give you guys a good look at.
So this is the new range of Vexed hooks by YM. Now, what is YM? No one knows what it is yet, but it's a breakaway hook brand. So it's a bunch of guys from, I'm not going to mention the brands, but if you think of the two biggest hook brands in the world that aren't made in Japan, that's probably a good idea for you. They've broken away and they've formed a new brand called YM. Now, a couple of these guys are old fellas with a heap of experience in fishing hooks. So all of this wire is all Belgian wire. They're as good as any hook that you've ever seen or used on the market. It's as sharp, if not sharper, than any hook on the market, and you can have a look for yourself and try and prove me wrong. So the best thing about this brand of hooks is I've been trying to create my own shapes of hooks for many years, and I've gone to 3 or 4 companies and they want 20 million hooks or something, so I can't do it. This brand here wants to work with us. So we're doing a collab by YM, but it's actually Vexed. So in 3 years time, YM will be 20 times bigger than Vexed, so I'm going to swap it around. I'll have YM hooks by a little tiny Vexed. But we've got the Australian distribution rights for these hooks, and a company wanting to work with me is so great, because I can actually make the hooks that I've wanted to use, not so much sell, but use myself over all of my club fishing years and just recreationally. So the 3 most popular whiting hooks is a long shank, a Mutsu circle, and a bait holder. Okay, I like long shanks when the fish are smashing it. I like circles when they're just nibbling on it, and I don't use bait holders at all, but I like the idea of keeping the bait up on the shank. So this is a small hook. I should have used a bigger one, but this is about a size 6, I think it is. We were losing a lot of hooks and killing a lot of fish using these. With a wrasse or a butterfish or all the less desirable swallow the hook, or even an undersized King George can still swallow a hook and you can't get them back out. And circles get fish in the lips, but no, not always. They still can swallow a circle. So I've incorporated a circle with a bait holder with a long shank. So that's our first. It's basically called a long shank Mutsu, and I think it's the best hook combination for King George or sand whiting or yellowfin whiting that I've ever seen, and we've tested them for about a year now and had some really good results. I only had one hook swallowed where I couldn't get out. That was with the big brown spotted wrasse, but other than that, we've caught more fish and we've released more fish to live another day. So they're available in small packs and large packs. So that's your big bulk pack. So there's a bunch of hooks in there. I don't know, what's it saying there? 50 hooks in there. There's a bunch in there, and there's your little pre-pack as well. So they're the 2 hook size packs that we do. Now we've also done a range of other standard hooks as well, like your long shank. So basically we just have just gone with all the old favorites and just mixed in a few of our own styles too. So all of our hooks, other than the red long shanks and one other circle option, are in GN. which is a Teflon coated. It's like a grey nickel Teflon coated finish. So that there is better against rust, and it also slips into the fish's mouth a bit easier. It's slippery. It's a slippery hook, and they look really, really nice. But I'm sick of having surface rust on my rigs the next morning. So even some hooks will rust overnight. So that's what it's for. Now, looking at the range of J hooks, we've got a big bait hook, which is an offset J hook. I know Luke's going to tell me that I've gone over the top and got too many, but people are specific on what styles of hooks they use. Some people like offset, some people like straight. I love that offset dirty big bait hook there. That is a strong hook. You could go PE8 as hard as you can on a 30 kilo Sambo or King, and that won't bend. They're extremely strong and just incredibly sharp. That hook is so bloody sharp. It's just not funny. Look at that. It's so sharp, sticky. So that is your offset bait fishing option. It's called a big bait, and we have a live bait hook, which is just your standard live bait hook. It's just a straight hook. Some guys like straight hooks, so your bait doesn't spin. That's if you're using a livey. But some guys like straight hooks anyway. I reckon the jury's out on what hook set is better. I think it's a bit of potluck, but I use a combination of both. The most popular hook we will sell in this range, in the larger hooks, is an octopus. Now, when they built this octopus, I specified the smallest possible barb. Okay, so the barb being small, I think you get a lot better hook set. And if you're a numpty and use slackline, you lose the fish, it's your fault. But you don't need a big barb. A big barb restricts penetration, so that will slip in nice and easy. And again, just slightly offset with the octopus and hideously sharp with that grey nickel Teflon coating. Now the other thing, when I go away on trips, I buy a bunch of lures and I want to swap over to singles for a lot of reasons. I think singles hook set are better for a lot of species, not all, but a lot of species, and also they're a safer option to use. They're easier to release fish, and they're a safer option if you're going to Scott Reef or Swains or somewhere. I mean, the chances of a fish jumping while you're taking a picture and whacking a treble in your arm is a lot greater than the single. So when you're buying single hooks to swap over a dozen or 30 lures for a trip, you can only buy singles in little packs, and I hate it. And there's sometimes 4 or 3 or 6 in a packet. So I've done dirty big bulk packs of these particular inlines as well. A very strong inline hook that you can use for stick baits, for minnows, for just about anything. Now that's the J hooks covered. Now let's have a look at circles. I've done Mutsu circles in the small ones only up to sort of a big whiting size, like a 1 or a 2, I can't remember now. But in big hooks, again, I've gone around to 5 or 6 stores to see what they sell the most of in terms of circles, and I had such a mixed bag of different ideas of what is more popular, and it's pretty much between a inline circle. So a lot of the South African surf fishermen all use inline circles, not many offset circles. A lot of our sort of West Aussie Mulloway beach fishermen use an offset circle. And then I kept banging on about the surf fishing, and a couple of stores say, oh, just shut up. Like, most of the hooks we're selling are for offshore. Forget the beach fishing crap. The most hooks we sell is an offset circle for offshore fishing. So I just didn't listen to them too much because I did my straight circle as well, because I really love that one. So offset, that's an octopus circle, the heavy duty inline circle, and then I've done a tournament circle too. So this is tournament legal, as is that. That's tournament legal too. This one is not tournament legal because it's offset. So I've done the tournament circle, and I'll be using that for a lot of my dingle dangle and beach fishing applications, because I love light gauge hooks. They set better. Big open light hook. You just might have to go a little bit softer on the dirty big fish, but Mulloway couldn't pull the skin off a custard anyway. Sorry, Mulloway fanatics, but I'm just being honest. But a Sambo, yeah. So with a Sambo, just go a little bit softer. Now, so that circle's covered. now this is the other thing I've got them to make for me. Now I've never bought a gang hook off the shelf from a tackle store in my whole life. And the reason being is that all the gang hooks that are ganged on the shelf available are not up to my standards. I hate gang hooks in terms of buying them. I always ganged like 7766 mustard tarpons or VMCs. I always ganged them myself. Now I've asked them to do my favourite gang hook is a 4200D Kendall Kirby or Mustard Kirby, but they're a little bit soft in terms of I've lost mulloway on them before. Whereas the 7766 tarpon or the O'Shaughnessy from VMC are a little bit thick, and I've missed hookups on them. So the hookup rate of the offset is better for tailor. Not so much mulloway, but for tailor and salmon, definitely offset. So what I've asked them to do is make a forged tarpon shape offset with a small barb and a slightly open eye, not an eye that's had the shit bent out of it. A slightly open eye, just enough to pass that barb. And here we go. I can gang my own hooks. Ah, you bastard! It's a sharp hook. So I'll talk about 3 versus 4. I'm just going to gang 3 together. Don't use those stupid ganging pliers when you're ganging hooks. Okay? You want something that shuts round. You don't want something that's asymmetric. This is how you close eyes, not with those silly ganging pliers. Squeeze it like that, and that way you get a nice round squeeze. You don't get a oval shape squeeze. This is how you do it. Don't over squeeze it, just enough to stop that going. There we go. I've just made one of the most efficient, cheapest gang hooks on the market, and I've squeezed it up exactly how I like it. Now, 4 hooks in the gang. If you've been using 3 hook gangs all your life, I'm sorry to tell you, break your bad news, but you have missed out on so many fish. Using 4 hooks, use 1 hook size down, use 4 hooks in the pilly, not 3, and you will catch more fish. All the good club fishermen, all the champions that I've fished with in the past, all use 4 hook gangs, and they're pretty quiet about it as well, because you simply get more hooks in the gang. You don't have to break the end off the pilly and throw it away, and the amount of fish I've caught on a 4 gang on that bottom hook there is amazing, and really good fish too, because sometimes big fish like to nibble. So I'm just going to squeeze that one together too, and there we go. So we have our gang ready to go. You can mix them up as well. So I've got these in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60. So you can do your profile gangs, which I'll show you a bit later. So 10, 20, 10 and 2, or you can stagger them to actually suit the pilchard. So that is the Vexed gangable tarpons, available in small packs and big packs. If you're a lazy prick like Luke, can you imagine Luke ganging his own hook? I don't think so. He's the sort of guy that buys Jack Daniels and Coke mixed, right? He's not going to buy a bottle and a carton of Coke because he's a lazy prick. Now, this is for them. So we've done a heavy duty tarpon. Now this is forged, this gangable tarpon that's forged, and it's strong as shit, right? But I thought I would do one that's a slightly stronger gauge, and that here is the black HD tarpon. Some guys like black hooks as well. I don't give a shit what color it is. The fish don't care either. They want the pilchard. So this is where I'm saying 4 hooks in the gang. Now in the smaller ones, because you're using baby pilchards, anchovies, hardy heads and big sort of blue baits, I don't put 4 hooks in there because it's just too much. So I've got 3 hooks in those 2 smaller sizes, but in the 30, 40, 50, the 3 most popular gang hook sizes in Australia by a mile, I've put 4 hooks in there because that's how I fish, and I assure you, you will catch more fish with a 4 hook gang. Then when you get to a 60, 4 hooks in the gang's a bit long, so you can't find it unless it's a garfish. It's too long. So a lot of guys use fillet baits on these. I mean, I prefer to use a double snell, but there's a lot of clonkers out there that still like to use a gang hook. So I'm not going to discourage them from using them, because they work and they catch fish. So a dirty big tailor fillet or a mullet fillet on that, fishing for reef fish offshore or big fish off the beach, happy days. And even just bait casting off the rocks. So that is the range of Vexed by YM hooks. They'll be in shops from now. So what are we in? They're
in now.
Yeah, mid-November. They're here. Go out and get them. That there is the new Vexed flashing tip light, which is this guy here. So what's Tim called it? A screaming flasher rod tip light. Okay. Luke's come across a few screaming flashes before on late Saturday nights, but what we've got is a rod for those guys that like to have a few drinks when they're fishing, or just like to have a bit of a snooze, or just aren't paying attention like Luke, because he's constantly on his phone. He doesn't even look around, he's just on his phone. When we're gas ballooning, he's just on his phone, letting his balloon out on his phone. You porn grinder, Instagram. Anyway, so what we've got here is this is called a screaming flasher. So it will change color when you get sensitivity on the end of the rod. I've tried these in the wind, and they're not great when it's absolutely blowing, because you just go nuts. But basically, if you just aren't paying attention, you've got 2 or 3 rods out, you can actually see what is going on. Really good for mulloway fishing down the river, and I'm working on the small one for brim fishing as well. So that is the screaming flasher. Now you can shut up now. I'm going to turn him off. They come with everyone's favourite, the old button battery, which are replaceable as well. Now, what we've also got is the flashing tip light. So that is green in motion, just in normal stance, and when you get a bite, she flashes red. So we've also got them in just standard red like that, and we have them in standard green too, which are the same color throughout, getting bite or not. Also they come with a battery, and we have spare batteries on tap, which are pretty hard to find sometimes. Also doing some broad bill and deep drop lights as well. This one here is for your deep dropping, which broad guys use as well. The sword guys will actually like this, and this is the proper sword light as well. Got them in the popular colours as well. We've got 3 or 4 colours of each one. So they're available now. Also, we have these things here, which are the rattling bait floats. So we've got them in a bunch of different sizes, from little tiny ones all the way up to we're doing a drone float as well. So a bait float for droning. Keeping it off the bottom for reducing rays. You won't eliminate, but you basically eliminate crabs when your bait's floating off the bottom, but also snags. So if you're droning over reef, or you have to bring your rig back through reef, this here will sometimes be the difference between losing your rig and not, and being visible for the fish to see. So I'm going to show you how these things work. This here, back in the day, we all used to use a cork with tape. Like, it used to be red tape on the cork, and we used to use them on our tailor rigs. Also, on our mulloway rigs, any type of surf fishing. So you can listen to the rattle in it. I've got a rattle in there, so every time that moves in the swell, okay, you'll actually hear it rattling as well. So it'll pick up, the fish will pick that up for a greater distance. Now, a rattling bait float, are available now as well. This is a rig which I'm going to demonstrate how we use it, and also how we use this thing here, which is the new Willie's bait clip. So this one here it's actually like a power clip. So I'm sick of using the old ones. We have one here somewhere. These things here. Now that is the normal sort of bait clip that we've been using for years, but it's a pain in the ass because the bait falls off it before you actually load up a cast sometimes, and you have to baby it backwards and make sure it hangs on there. So I wanted something that you could either stick a dingle dangle in or stick a gang hook in a lot easier. So this is the Vexed long cast tailor rig. So if you have a look here, so this would be hanging down right off the tip of your rod, and you can have a pilchard on there or a strip bait, and then all you do is just lift it under there like that, and she's going to hang on there like that. And it's going to hang on pretty much unless you're a really rugged caster. If you're a smooth caster, that'll hang on. If you just focus on this, when it hits the bottom or it hits the surface of the water, it'll come off. So that there, by clipping your bait down, you get more distance and you don't disturb the pilchard. Sometimes when you cast into a sou'wester, the pilchard rips off. Sometimes I've seen people cast and the pilchard flies off as well. So it just makes it a little bit more aerodynamic and you get more distance. So this is the new grapnel sinker we're doing. So traditionally we've sold these and we keep selling these. We've got the Lumo version of this one, but a lot of guys, especially down south, have been asking for these ones that you can bend up like this. They really grip the bottom. So we've got them from 4 ounce right the way through to a dirty big 10 ounce. That's an 8 ounce there, but we do them up to 10 ounces as well. So that's just your sort of wire grapnel surf sinker. And that there is the perfect tailor rig. New YM Vexed gangs, a rattling bait float to keep it off the bottom, and a sinker that ain't gonna drag. So some new stuff. I'll show you how these clips work for a pulley rig as well. Now this is the exact pulley rig, the exact one, the actual one that Tim caught a 20 kilo mulloway off the beach up near Geraldton in WA on. It is got a new bait clip on it now though, because these have only just come in. So I'll switch that old clip, which I just showed you, for this one. Look how easy that is. So being a pulley rig, that ain't coming off until it hits the water. When it hits the water, just give the rod tip a jiggle as well, just to make sure that that comes off. Like that. And then with the dangle on there, obviously you're going to have a beautifully tied bait on there around your dangle. Again, that's going to float up away from the crabs and crap on the bottom. So that's some of the new stuff we got, guys. All available now.